Very important business tonight.
Very business.
Very important business tonight.
I really hope people come back and watch these intros that we pretty much do for ourselves when no one's logged in yet.
Because no one's logged in. This is our for our own entertainment.
Like, do these get put onto the...
Yeah, they can see this. They can see this. Happy little beast, Jennifer. Oh my God, Natalie, Kristen. All right, guys. So as y'all are logging in, we have a really.
We're about to dive.
We're good. My spoon is too big.
Sorry.
My spoon is too... So we have two platforms tonight. We're on Facebook and Instagram Live tonight.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave. We miss you. Hi, Gary. Hi, Mike. Oh, what's that? So tonight we have a pretty cool topic, and it's gonna like appeal to a certain group of people. Those who are interested in contest prep. We did a huge contest prep seminar last year around this time.
So if this is something you enjoyed tonight or want more, we're going to obviously be putting this up later, but the one we did last year is very in-depth. So,
we had it in person at Road.
That's on the YouTube page, I believe.
Yeah, it was really good.
And then as well, for some people, we're going to be talking about the NPC tonight mostly, and
Missy
what does it take to do a bodybuilding show, women's physique show, women's body, but bikini also. Mm-hmm. But also, we're going to be introducing, again, our pageants at the end, because we're going to be doing a pageant seminar
next week.
So I always like to say, not that one thing's harder than the other, but bodybuilding, to get to that level, I always say, whenever you think you're lean enough, you have probably another 10 pounds to go.
Yeah, it's two very different realms, pageants, photo shoots, and contest
And
prep.
I love the NPC. I love bodybuilding. I've been a fan forever. But the sport judges you on what you show up that day. So your story...
Your struggles, your background, none of it matters.
It's not a weight loss contest.
No, none of it matters. And if you've competed before, you know this story very well.
And it can be frustrating.
It can be frustrating, 100%.
You could walk into some mutants and you busted your ass, but mutants.
Mutants. So, as we go along tonight, if you guys have specific questions, we want you to drop it in the comments because we are happy to dive into that specific topic or answer that question for you. You have us live. This is a topic that is not talked about very often, so we want to make sure that we get all the information out to you guys now before the start of the 2021 season.
Yeah, and don't worry, there's a lot, and I always tell people, especially with bodybuilding, if you think the question's stupid, I promise I've heard so much stupider. Hey, D.
Stupider. D is one of our IFBB pros. Congratulations to Deirdre. This summer she went pro with the IFBB, and she's actually here in the comments. So thank you for joining us.
I always like sharing her story, too, because what was our first couple attempts at National? How did those go?
She'll drop it in the comments. And she knows how hard it is.
Pro, and I guess she has a rough day job, too.
Yeah.
Surgeon.
Yeah, drop it in the comments, Deirdre. The people want to hear your story.
I'm still waiting for my leftovers, D, from surgery. All right.
So the number one thing that people say when they do contest prep is they go, can I commit to this because my life is so crazy, it's so chaotic? I'm going to tell you right now, everybody's life is crazy and chaotic.
And not to be so normally when most people hear me talk, I'm pretty hard on mental health, forgiveness, work-life balance. Prep doesn't always have that.
No.
So if your first questions are kind of that, it may not be the sport for you.
Yes. Yes. And we all have struggles. We all have crazy lives that we're balancing with contest prep. The contest prep world is very different than general nutrition.
And I like to tell everybody, you can be a bodybuilder without competing. I was very heavy into the bodybuilding scene for a long time. I never got on stage because, to me, the last 8 to 10 weeks just never had it for me.
And how many nutrition members do we work with that don't step on stage, but they get freaky shredded because they practice that lifestyle?
And they look better than half the athletes.
And they don't want to step on stage, and that's cool, too. So Deirdre, she tells her story. She came in basically dead last at her first attempts at Nationals, her first 2 attempts at Nationals, and then almost dead last first 2 attempts. Let me scroll, sorry. And then she gets her pro card, her 3rd attempt this year in the craziest effing year anybody's had. And she's a surgeon by day. She's a surgeon by career, so...
And she's a breakfast connoisseur.
So this is a woman who has a crazy life. She's on call, and she still managed to prioritize this goal of hers in her busy lifestyle.
Yeah, and I like to use our busier athletes as a, not so much a source of inspiration, but more as a template of time management.
Time management skills is one of the number one things that our top athletes have a pretty good handle on.
Yeah, because the prep, everyone goes, how hard is prep? And I go, I guess it's hard, but it's mental. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's hard.
Yeah. The physical component of it comes with the mental grasp that you have to have on it. So we're going to fly through a few things, talking about both men and women's divisions. what it entails, what's expected during prep, what's expected of you as an athlete, expected of us as coaches, the whole bit. So I think I said to you guys before I started competing that I didn't know if I could compete with my job 100%. And you did. It honestly came down to your time management.
And that's it. No matter what your situation is, if you are motivated, nothing's really a factor. We can make almost anything work.
Right.
But as soon as you let it start becoming a reason, it's not going to work. That's fine. But yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Jenny. So starting with the men's divisions, we have men's physique, classic physique, and bodybuilding. For women's, we have bikini, wellness, which was new this year, figure, women's physique, and women's bodybuilding. All have very different physiques that they present to the stage.
And I'm going to get more detail on each one, but pretty much an easy way to think about it is, start with the men. Physique is the relatively least muscular, least leanest.
Relatively.
Classic physique, a little leaner, a little bigger. And bodybuilding, we're looking for maximum muscle, maximum leanness. Now moving over to the women. Bikini is similar to men's physique. These are beach bodies that look tight, good glutes, small waist. Wellness, very similar in terms of definition, but a little more muscularity on the bottom half, but still not looking for like hardcore grainy vascularity there. Figure throughout the years was said to be a more softer, rounder, fuller division.
Oh, that has changed.
And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but it's a step up in muscularity and leanness from wellness. And then physique is another step up from that division.
And then bodybuilding.
Yeah, and then bodybuilding. And by step up, it doesn't mean good or bad. People ask, what division should I do, or how do I work into another one? 99% of the time, your genetics are going to tell you what division you work into, and you're just going to maximize your genetics.
I think that's an important component to say is genetically, where do you fall? So people come to us to say, what division should I be? And honestly, I take a very close look at your genetic build, where you are now, where you fall in naturally. And in addition, if you're just starting out as an amateur, as a beginner, you do not want to compare your physique. Say you're a male bodybuilder, right? How many times I go, I'm not big enough. Do not compare.
You're right. You're never big enough.
You're not big enough. Don't compare your physique as a first timer to the pros on the IFBB pro stage,
or even some of them. The higher NPC level gets pretty nasty as well.
Yeah. So speaking of, we're talking about IFBB and NPC. Like, what is that? So the NPC is the National Physique Committee. That's where you start off as a beginner or as an amateur. From the NPC, you have your first show, your local show, and from there you go to nationals if you were to place top 2 in your division, nationals, NPC nationals. And at NPC nationals, that's your chance to qualify as a professional athlete or go into the IFBB, which is the International Federation of Bodybuilding. So you have the NPC and the IFBB. They both work together, but one is the professional platform.
Yeah. A good way I always like to explain to people is think of your local NPC shows, or also called national qualifiers. This is your high school games. As soon as you get out of high school, you go to Division I college. That's going to be your pro qualifier shows, and out of that we go to the pros. And I don't want to understate how big the difference in competition is at each jump.
Huge.
So just like at high school, you can be big fish, small pond.
Big fish in a little pond.
And then you move out of that, and you're like, oh god.
You take all the big fish from all the little ponds and put them on one stage together.
Like Michelle, she won her first show completely. Overall, won every single award he could have.
With no politics, mind you.
And we'll get to that later. Showed up to nationals. She didn't do as well.
No.
Same thing. You move to that pro stage, and then it's even another animal.
It's a big step up. Just like Dee, it took me 3 attempts to go to the professional status over the course of 6 years.
And that's 6 years, but 12 shows during it.
Yeah. So, these things take time. It takes time to grow. It takes time to develop. It takes time to shape your body. Yeah. And it takes time to master your conditioning and what is necessary for that next level. Yeah. And in addition to that, it's all who shows up on stage next to you. Jenny goes, I'm still interested in doing this in the future with you guys. It's going to happen, baby, when the time is right. Timing.
Yeah. And the one big thing I'll get into before I dive into the meat and potatoes here is...
I like meat and potatoes.
Yeah, me too. Every time someone talks to you about, this prep, I really want to improve my glutes. This prep, I really want to improve my lats. During prep, we're not really making any improvements. We're just trying to get rid of any fat and hold on to your muscle for dear life. So this is why, if you have a serious athlete, you're taking the off season seriously. That's when you can make your changes. If we're sculpting you from a piece of marble, we only have so much marble at the beginning of prep. off season's a chance to give us more marble.
Yep, and like myself,
More clay, if you will.
more clay. D can vouch how important that off season is. When you take it seriously and you keep things tight, how much easier your prep will be when it comes time to cut for your show. It's so very important, and I don't think enough people focus on the importance of that off season, developmental season. It's all part of the process. Hi, Kimmy.
All right, so
we kind of touched on that. Did you want to go into all these specifics, or you kind of went on into that, right? So like,
yeah, okay, so these kind of go across every division, and I'll do a little bit of this.
What are the judges looking for?
And so before everybody who loses says the politics were against them.
I don't want to hear the political shit.
And everybody who wins says politics don't matter. They don't matter. They don't matter. These guys are pretty, they don't care, not in a sense, but they have bigger fish to fry. They don't really care about this. And as well, you have the 5 judges. High score and low score are generally thrown out. So unless you have the best connections in the world, every single judge, and they're all going to lie for you, sure. But it doesn't happen. The best that'll happen is if you're very familiar with the judges and it's a tie, they might look your way.
I know people who have had the best political connections possible, and they placed appropriately where they deserve to be placed.
And that's it. Your local second place is not worth their job to.
No.
It's just that simple.
No, it is not.
And it's a big deal to us. The local second place is tremendous to us. But to them, it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
And I it's hard because I am kind of rough on this topic, and it can come off as kind of being an ass, but it's honest. It's just honesty.
No.
If your physique is in a 6th place position, it will not place first with the best political connections in the world. Like we said, my first show I ever did, I won first. I didn't know a single freaking person.
No, we were just two little kids.
2 little kids. I did a show down in Florida. I didn't know a single person. I won. And then 2015, I was like, I'm going to go to nationals, and I placed dead last.
Yeah.
A week after a local show. So you're going to place where your body belongs, really.
Yeah. And most people get frustrated because, like, what do I need to do better? And the answer is a lot all the time. It's never just one thing.
And honestly, when people have asked us feedback after their show, depending on where they placed, you and I have never, ever said, it's politics. We said, okay, we need to work on this for next year.
Yeah, I feel like there was one show ever I wasn't happy. Yes,
there was one. There was
one athlete.
Well, everything was getting goofed up. I think there was issues behind the judging panel.
I'm talking about Natasha.
Different one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Those...
That one I didn't understand.
But you know what? Mostly that worked out in our favor. So.
Yeah.
This other one, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. So we already said. So the judges are really looking for shape, conditioning, symmetry, size and muscularity, and stage presence. These are all things that they're judging you on and are going to affect your placing.
If you notice, nowhere on there did it say suit color, hair color, the way I move.
Yeah. Stage presentation will come in, like, say you're a bikini athlete and you and first and second place are like neck and neck, like, oh crap, I can't figure this out. They might go on stage presentation. But that is not going to affect you if you're in 8th place bringing you first.
I always kid around. We've had some athletes over the years who've had great bodies and some who just couldn't pull it together posing-wise. Yeah. But I have to tell you, everybody who brought their body, even if their posing was like pretty much horrendous, still ended up placing where they should have placed physique-wise.
Yep.
At the local level, they cut you a lot of slack.
They do. Hi, Val and Deirdre. Again, she says that I didn't know anyone where I went pro out in Pennsylvania, by the way. She brought the best package she could. And that was it, and she was rewarded for it, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there isn't a reason to not talk to people in the sport. You should. Pick everyone's brain, get ideas, be a sponge. But learn. The best thing you can do is give yourself a base of knowledge first, because there's a lot of sharks in the bodybuilding water, let's call it.
Yeah. There he goes, and if you're lucky like me, there's only 5 people in the division, and you place 5th and bring home hardware, #truth. I freaking love you, Mary, so much.
I'll take that trophy any day.
I'll take it. Valerie goes, D is my hero. He is all our hero.
All right.
So we talked about before progression. You have the local stage, you have nationals, and then you go to the IFBB Pro. What is expected of the athletes? And what is expected of the coaches? Let's dive into this one a little bit.
So, I can only speak about us personally, so that's what I'm going to do. So for us personally, the biggest thing in working with the bodybuilding athlete, and you can say, well, Randy, if I was to put your perfect client in a lab and make one for you, what would it be?
Right.
And my answer would have nothing to do with physique. I could care less about that. It would nothing to do with physique.
Coachable.
Are you coachable? Are you accountable? And are you honest with yourself?
God, can we say that one more time?
Coachable, accountable, and honest with yourself.
Yes. And be honest with us too, please.
Yeah, me too, I guess. Because I always laugh with certain, we have some athletes we're pretty close with. I always say, cheating's great if you're still going to get the A in the test. In bodybuilding, cheating doesn't help anybody because your body's still gonna. So if you don't do the work, it's not gonna be there.
The Fit 3D scanner knows, and we know.
Yeah. When it comes to coachability, this just means you're choosing to trust the process of who you're working with.
Trust the process. Trust the process.
And that doesn't mean don't question.
Right. You can always question, and we will always have an answer for you.
Yeah. But, if you decide to work with us, you decide to work with another coach, whoever it is, remember, you worked with them for a reason. Let's see this through. But, you should be able to ask your coach, why am I doing this? And he should have, or she should have a very specific answer for you of why you're doing this. And there'll be times they go, well, I think this might be a good idea. And we go, okay, let's give it a shot.
Some of it's trial and error.
But sometimes you're going to say something, but I don't think it's a great idea. And if I'm saying it like that, that's my polite way of saying no.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are just very important things. You got to trust the process. And yeah, go ahead.
But you also have to the basics have to be like, you don't worry about those.
Yes.
When you're a competition athlete, we do macros, tracking macros. It should be understood that you're hitting your macros every day as a bodybuilding athlete. I shouldn't have to be checking on you on that.
Luke, our photographer, he does the photos for all of our athletes, by the way.
And we're going to be talking to you soon, actually.
Yeah, we're going to be reaching out, Luke. So, and I want to just reiterate that. So when anybody comes to us for contest prep, they must start in our nutrition program with one of our nutritionists to learn the foundation, learn how to track macros, learn accountability, and to see if they can truly follow that lifestyle in the general nutrition. Yeah. People ask, what's the difference between what they do and what we do? They're really learning there. When they come to Randy and I, like he said, it is expected that you know how to track, and we shouldn't have to say, take your phone out, I want to look at your food log, I want to look at your macros. You should already be doing that.
I always laugh all the time. Clients like, do I want to work with you? I go, no, I'm a terrible nutritionist these days because I don't teach the basics very often anymore. I don't spend a lot of time on the basics.
Because that's not where our focus is.
So I assume it's all done. So I'm not there to teach you the basics. I'm there to try and help you get to the next level and optimize things.
Right.
And a lot of it's just accountability. And I say half the hardest thing we do is keeping the mental stability and not making changes too quick and too emotionally.
Yes.
Sticking to the plan, even as a coach, trusting your own plan.
Yes. And I think that's what a big mistake people do, especially when they're on their own, is they emotionally switch gears, and they should not have.
Yeah.
It's all about giving your body time to catch up to the work that you put into it. It's very important to trust that.
Yeah, even if you don't decide to work with a coach and you ever want to do a show, have an accountability buddy.
Accountability buddies.
Have someone who can keep you in check.
Yeah, unless you're just like a solo lone rider.
Yeah, that happens.
Everybody we work with is very different. Now, when we talk about what to expect from a coach, and I will say this, and all of our nutritionists will say this over and over again. We even print out a sheet for our members on day one. What's to be expected from us and what we expect from you. And one of the number one things is communication. Without communication, nobody knows what the hell is going on. We're blind as coaches.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important to have those good communication skills with your coach.
And, the miscommunication may come from different places. Usually it's not from a bad place.
No.
A lot of times people, for some reason, they don't want to disappoint us, or they thought they wanted to prep and now they don't, and they don't know how to get. If you tell me, hey, Randy, I don't think I want to bodybuild anymore.
We will be the first to be like, awesome. Don't.
I always tell people, the reason I don't is because I don't really want it that bad.
Right.
You have to really want this. So if you're doing it, you're like, let's not worry about it. Let's get you ready for a photo shoot. Let's do something else. Let's get you ready for the beach.
Yep.
And you'll look, if that's where your head's at, you'll probably look like you were planning on looking anyway.
Yeah.
Without the pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So as coaches, we expect connection. That better come
back.
We're back. Okay, and we're back. We need to know what's going on. I work with everybody differently, and Randy works with everybody differently. We need to know what your needs are, because we work with some people who need daily accountability, that daily handhold, that daily check-in, and we will give you that. And then we have others that are like, yeah, I'll see you next week. Like, I'm good.
And usually when you're working with us, you're dealing with me a lot in the X's and O's department. And I have people that send me diaries of workouts, diaries of food logs. I love it. You can't send me enough information.
Sure.
So it's really cool. I enjoy that.
Jen goes to me, Jen, if you need me to talk to you every damn day, I will talk to you every damn day. I just need people to tell me.
Yeah, that's it. Just keep us in the loop with what's going on with you. And as well as probably a couple people on here will say, there's times I've had to, they're like, I'm feeling X, Y, or Z. I'm like, oh, let's add some more carbs here, do this, we can switch this up. The more you communicate with me, and not just about how you look, just how you're feeling, there's a lot of wiggle room, and very few of the things I say are written in stone. I can usually make something happen for you, and if I can't, you'll get a smile, and I'll change the topic.
Yeah, most likely. I'm all about Mary, and I walk out and forget to ask what to change, yes. But I am all about mirroring your needs, and me as a coach, you have to remember that as a coach, as a business owner, I'm always trying to become better myself.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like the way I coached people 6 years ago is different than how I am today. So I'm always learning as well. And I learn from you guys, Yeah, communication 100%, Rashawn,
if Rashawn didn't communicate with me, he'd be starving on the macros I give. But we had some different things we had to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Sharice is one of our see you next week. And she comes in and she just nails it. We're like, okay, this is good. Today. So you have to understand everybody's different, but we will mirror the needs to the best of our ability. And the only way we can do that is not by reading your mind, but by communicating. You say you need me to check in with you every night at 7 p.m. Guess what? I will put a freaking alarm in my phone and I will do that. It's literally as simple as that. We do it.
Yeah. And we're here for you, if it's not for you, don't worry. I can't tell you how many conversations I had with people.
It's cool.
It's
not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. It sucks, man.
Wouldn't do it. So, in addition, as coaches, you not only have us for your nutrition and training needs, unless you work with another trainer, because we never step on trainers' toes. In fact, we work beautifully with them.
And I always kid around. I love having a strong team for our athletes because
it's about the athlete.
The more help the athlete can get, the better. We used to be trainers. I think I'm pretty good at it, but it's not my full-time gig anymore. Yeah. So let the person who's doing it full-time.
Yeah, Dee's a perfect example. She gets all of her, and I'm going to give him a shout out, her training with Jordan over at HIT Training, and he is absolutely phenomenal. And we can trust him to make sure that she's getting the program design she needs for the proper development. And it's truly a beautiful partnership that we have.
And over the years, I worked with some trainers who maybe weren't as familiar with bodybuilding. It was great because I touched base with the trainer. We'd put together a program. And I'm like, listen, here's kind of the template I need. You can do whatever you want within that.
Yeah, and I like what Dee said. It's true. I needed check-ins for a little. Michelle will call every night. And that's a perfect example. Like Dee, for instance, there's a part that I can be like, yo, I'll see you next week. We're good. But when things get a little bit tough, especially between your show that you went pro and your pro debut, it got a little tough and we need to adjust, and I will reach out to you every night. It's as simple as that, and I'm more than happy to do it. I find pleasure in this. I enjoy it.
And that's the tough thing. So the big thing, I guess, before I get into a little bit of detail is don't drive yourself crazy. If your first year on stage, what do you need to improve? You need to improve everything.
Everything. And also just to what to expect from us besides for the nutrition training, your posing practice. We do all of your posing weekly. It's something that we've always done for our athletes. And in addition to that, we are with you the day of your show if you're one of our local athletes. We help you with everything backstage. I also coordinate you with the proper suit, tanning, hair, makeup,
We have
shoes.
a nice big circle.
We have a circle, a beautiful network of people that we work with. If you need extra posing, we have people that we refer out to. We really have an awesome crew of people.
Yeah, I'll have to give those shout outs. So if you're looking for good additional posing, I'd say there's really, locally we have, Sassy and Classy. I would say they're really good at getting you. If you're nervous about getting on stage and
stage presence,
they are the best. And then you have Kenny Wallach as well, who works on a little more technical. He's not as worried about the sass, but he's going to give you X and O's.
Physique, yeah. And Dee's worked with both, so she can let you know what to expect from both.
They're both great, but different.
We work with the Shoe Fairy for shoes and glam. We work with Salela Suits for suits, and I know Deirdre works with Casey Customs.
Yes.
For suits as well. So again, we have a lot of people.
Clean Bro for meal prep.
Clean Bro for meal prep, and Apollo Nutrition for subs. And I have promo codes for all of these companies as well, so you guys can save money in the process.
Yeah. And as well as another thing too, we'll go through the suit buying process with you. Men, it's fine. But girls, they can get pricey and we'll walk in the right direction.
We got to try to find where we can. KH Customs, thank you very much. I knew I was going to fudge that up. And they're awesome too. Their suits are bedazzled gloriously and I love them. So
bedazzled badunkadunks.
Bedazzled, literally bedazzled badunkadunks. What's expected of our team members besides being coachable and positive, having a healthy mindset? I need to know that my athletes are supporting and encouraging one another. This is a vision that I had from when we first started.
And Blackstone Labs as well.
Oh, and Blackstone Labs, yes. Having discipline, but I need you guys to be there for one another. And some beautiful friendships have been made within the Revolutionized community amongst the athletes, and it's really, really freaking awesome to see. And it's support that they've never gotten from their closest friends growing up, because it's a different understanding.
Something that was really cool that I never expected when we started this company in any way was, I think it started 2 years ago, where some of our more senior athletes, some of our sponsored athletes, some of our people who...
Our sponsored athletes,
they really became almost second coaches, and it was so cool. They were taking care of the new athletes. They were in their DMs, calming them down.
You had Kayla, Mary. they all stepped out.
Val, all of them. If I'm forgetting someone, I'm sorry.
Christine, Christine at one point...
She was driving herself crazy.
No, Christine was competing in a show, and she'll laugh if she sees this. And Christine is the type of person to help everybody else out, but she forgets about herself. And I grabbed her by the shoulder and I said, you are not helping anybody else out right now. Let me do that, and you focus on you. You have a show to go do right now.
Exactly.
So they help so much, and it's truly beautiful. So that's something that's expected. Great sportsmanship, and to know that we're not a clique, though.
Yeah.
So even though we're together, I want anybody backstage to have open arms to anybody else that's backstage that's not even a part of Revolutionize. All my girls know that after I have you guys all tanned and pammed up and everything, I'm helping other athletes.
We adopt lone athletes.
We adopt lone athletes whose coaches may have not shown up, or their coaches are not local, and we're not picking them up as athletes. I'm genuinely just helping them, and that's it. It sucks to see an athlete show up to a show and their coach isn't there.
Yeah, especially when they were expecting them to be.
Yeah, and we've seen that so many times. You have a brand new athlete about to step on stage, their coach no-shows them, and they're crying in a corner, and I'm like, okay.
We see this at nationals.
Too many times. Yeah. So my girls can vouch for that, and all of you guys are just so cool because you will help other people who we don't even know, and that's the beauty of this team.
And I always say to people, not to toot our own horn, but we kind of keep the bodybuilding world light and beautiful. It can be a pretty dark, terrible world if you get into the wrong circles of it. Yeah. So we try to keep it away from that.
Yes, 100%. We want light and
there's a lot of negativity and toxicity out there from people who shouldn't be in the sport.
Yes, exactly. So, Jen, yes, they all helped me in 2018. Great mentors, and Kayla was great with all the personal girly questions. I love that. What's the time frame between each season, prep and off season? That's a great question, Jenny. So the time frame for each season. So Randy and I do shows in April, May, June, July, and August. That's our prep time. Are there shows later than that in the season? Yes, but we veered away from them.
There's other shows, there's out-of-state stuff. I'll always coach you for them, but these are the shows we will be at.
Yeah, so April through August, and then everything in between is our developmental season. So once that show's done in August, from September until December, January, and then some of our athletes start prepping for the April show, and some just stay in their developmental season to do August again.
Yeah, it's, just a term timeline. Right now I have a few athletes who've started prep for the upcoming season. A lot of them that were in that little pre-prep getting moving. But usually I always tell people, especially if it's your first prep, give yourself 16 weeks, even if you need 12.
Yeah, duration of time. So everybody that we work with is different. Some people stay very, very lean year-round. Others might have 30 pounds of body fat to drop, to be completely honest. So they're going to need that full time of prep.
No.
Lisa, do we know when the first show is? So as of right now, I spoke to Maz. He says, although it is not on the Bev Francis website, the Kemper April 10th should be happening. I do not know further details on that. I don't know where it's being held. They're probably still trying to figure that all right now. Yeah. But as soon as I know, I will let you guys know. So as of right now, April 10th is happening. Yeah. Let's see. Mary, let me lose her job. And then Kelsey, let me see. Kelsey says, I'd also like to thank the athletes for being such support systems for our general nutrition clients. Not only are they so inspiring, but they are so accessible and supportive to all the members. And that's so true. I know for a fact one of my athletes helps one of my general nutrition members, just like you're seeing amongst your members. And it is awesome.
But it's always so funny when a lot of people are like, okay, I work with, Kelsey. How about I work with you? I'm like, well, Kelsey's way more qualified and better at this than I am. I go, I'm a meathead who grew up in the sport and kind of know what I'm doing.
We hired geniuses.
I always say, bring on people smarter than yourself.
Rashawn says, I need the food during prep. Something me, Randy, Michelle found out.
Yeah, and everyone's different. I have, we have a vegan athlete who's eating 8 million carbs a day. I have Loretta who's eating 8 million carbs a day, who gets upset if she can't have a loaf of bread before the show.
She eats so many carbs. But I do want to go back to what Kelsey said, and I want all of our general nutrition members to know to not ever feel intimidated by our athletes, because that has happened before as well.
I understand.
We're not intimidating, I promise. They are so freaking awesome, and they're so accessible, and they want to help. They genuinely want to help. So never feel shy to reach out to them. Yeah. Seriously.
Trust me, half the time they are excited you reached out, because a lot of times the athletes don't see themselves the way a lot of other people do.
And remember, the athletes began in general nutrition.
Yeah.
They all started there, so they know the whole process. A loaf of bread. Yes, a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
So now I'm just going to kind of touch on social media versus Instagram versus what actually matters.
Yeah. And we talk about this for all nutrition, but prep's another animal.
So, okay. So, social media and Instagram, you're going to see the filters. You're going to see the filters. You're
the
going to
angles
see
they want to show you.
Filters, the angles they want to show you. They're going to show them when they're in the middle of a pump. They're going to show you the best of the best. There are some of us that will show like random piece of crap pictures that are like...
there's nothing wrong with doing that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. But for the average person, or for somebody who's trying to get into the sport, it's easy to say, wow, they must look like that all the time, and it's incredible. In the end, the Instagram doesn't even fucking matter. What matters is what shows up on that day, on that stage, how your body compares and flows next to the bodies that are next to you. That's all that matters. It does not matter what you posted last night. So keep that in mind, and that goes for our athletes as well. Stop stalking social media. That's one thing I never fucking did when I competed. I never
you really didn't.
Ever.
I did.
Ever. He stalked, but he wouldn't talk to me about it. I don't want to know. The only thing you can control is yourself. I only have a pump for 7 minutes after I work out, Cheetah. The only thing that matters is yourself. You cannot control the way other people look. You cannot control the way they're editing their pictures. So please stop driving yourself crazy with that.
Yeah, and I'm going to jump on top of that.
Hi, Tosh.
I don't love talking about this stuff, but it's always important. You also don't know what they're taking.
Correct.
And I'm not talking about, your regular Apollo and Blackstone Lab supplements, There are steroids in bodybuilding. It is what it is. There's a lot of different drugs and stuff, and you don't need them. We've had people go pro without drugs, but they're there. They're a part of the sport, and a lot of people try to skip a lot of the process with drugs, so they never learn the basics, blow through some stuff they didn't need, and they fuck themselves up. If you want horror stories, I have horror stories.
Yeah. Too many fucking horror stories, to be perfectly honest with you. And, I have general nutrition members that talk to me and they go, wow, this person looks amazing. Did you see the picture they posted? I go, yeah, they do look amazing, but you can't compare yourself to what they're doing, because I can promise you it's not just what they're eating and how they're training. There might be other factors involved.
And how about that? But I'm not taking away from them. They're incredible.
Oh, they're incredible. We're not taking away from it, but don't compare yourself. Is so important.
Yeah, because if they didn't work, people wouldn't take them.
Facts. The next thing is talking about eating disorders and body dysmorphia. So if you're an athlete, you probably kind of say this, lighting at Iron Revolution Gym will have you looking show ready at the peak of bulk. So I'm gonna go there. I have to give them a shout out. People are loving it there. So it happens. It exists in our industry. Now, we practice a flexible nutrition approach that does help tremendously in this realm. It teaches people how to eat. It teaches people not to be afraid or fearful of foods, and to incorporate all foods into their diet. Now, does that mean that when you're doing contest prep, you're eating cookies for every meal? Absolutely fucking not. So please do not think that for a hot second. It's one of my pet peeves that people think flexible nutrition means that. It is not. But if you want to swap out broccoli for cauliflower, so freaking be it. But when it comes to eating disorders, if you follow an extremely restrictive diet, we have seen people develop a plethora of eating disorders. Yeah. We've had a lot of people come to us from other coaches who needed to basically fix their mentality because they were so strict.
Yeah, and it's not, there's a lot of great coaches out there, but there's a lot of other coaches out there, some online coaches who just give you shit, and it's scary how many, because a lot of times too, people that get caught up in that tend to be vulnerable and more prone to eating disorders in the first place.
Yes.
So it's like, the things that are worst for them are hunting for them.
Yes. In addition to that, when we work with people, now, nowadays, they used to come straight to us working with us, but now they got to work with general nutrition because we do screen people in a sense. We need to make sure that there are no habits and underlying issues that can lead to something, because I will tell you right now that if I were to work with somebody and they developed something afterwards and I didn't catch it, like, that is heartbreaking to me. Have we had people lie to us? Yes. We've had people lie to us and say they don't have a history of anything, blah, blah, blah.
And then it all comes out.
And then it all comes out afterwards.
And also something I want to talk about this. So, we screen everybody, but if you hop into screening it, and you blow it out of the water, you're coming over to us. We're not going to keep you there just because.
Yes. In addition to that, all the athletes need to understand you are not going to look stage lean all year round. You're not going to look photo shoot ready all year round.
Yeah. You're going to feel good maybe the last 4 weeks.
Yeah. So for people, for our athletes who have worked with us before, they get this. They know this. But for first timers, they think they're going to hit a certain physique and hold on to that forever. That's not how this works.
Fish diuretics all day long.
I'm laughing really hard now because that's like kind of became an inside joke. Yes, the sarcasm. People are going to think you're serious, Deirdre.
Dude, there's also a funny joke that I heard from a bodybuilding crowd that they referred to when a diuretic went wrong is they had some bad Lasix fish.
So there's sarcasm there. No, the fish doesn't thin your skin, everybody, please.
Yeah.
But you guys have to remember that you're not going to look stage lean all year round. Personally, I don't want to look stage lean all year round. It is freaky. I have veins and striations in my chest. Yeah. I like when my...
And you don't progress.
Chest comes back. Yeah. Was that inappropriate?
That's what you are, though.
Boobs.
That's who you are.
Boobs. I ate too many damn birthday cake protein bars. Oopsies, and didn't stretch enough. And then my jaw. Oh my god. That's right. Wait, didn't you have lockjaw? She had TMJ. Yeah.
And
Gina. I didn't have abs until 3 days before my show. Randy was right on point, and I'd get him. Facts, and that's trust the process. She did. Her abs came out, and that was freaking awesome. The one thing we can't control is where your body. Boobs. We can't control where your body stores body fat. So some people have kind of abs all year round. Others, it comes out those last 3 days of prep. So it's very interesting to see what your body does.
And just on that point as well, a very common question I get is what percent body fat should I be? It's hard to say. If I had a 100% accurate machine, I can sort of put out numbers for you, but also, especially women, everybody varies. Some of the women just magically don't lose some of the fat from their chest and their butt, and their body fat will be higher, but they look great.
Right.
Now you'll have other athletes who lose that first, and the rest of their body's not.
In addition, the piece of equipment that you're going to use to assess your body fat, they're all calibrated differently. So if you're using a bioelectrical impedance, if you're using a Fit 3D scan, if you're using a bod pod, an in-body, all of these things will calibrate you differently. So please do not compare the number you have from one method to another.
And when you see people posting their body fats online and they're like 2, 3, they're lying.
Yeah.
It's a machine error.
It's a machine error. There's also machine error, percentage of error on these things. So, take the numbers with a grain of salt. You want to see trends in the right directions, but things that will skew it is your hydration levels, food in your stomach. It will skew the measurements that you're going to get.
Yeah. And again, I like body fat. It's a great number, but the measuring tools aren't wonderful for it.
Correct. And it gets the wackiest during peak week.
Yeah.
Peak week numbers are out of control. In addition, you just got to be you. You be you. When you're on stage,
you be you.
You are against each other, but you're not against each other. Honestly, you're being judged solo. Yes, there's other people on stage, but you can't sit back and compare yourself to other people and look them up.
It's gymnastics. It's a one-person sport at a time.
Correct. You have to remember that slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady is everything. This is not something that can be rushed. This is not a crash diet, nor is it a weight loss.
It's not a weight loss.
Competition. It's not.
It's something you should be getting into. And again, there's exceptions to everything. You should have a pretty good grasp on the gym, on the basics. You should, by the time you get to this, you should have been in the gym for a minute already.
Yes. Follow the trends and not the number. Absolutely. Yes. And yes, there's going to be a day where that number is going to get wacky, but that overall trend is going to bring you in the right direction. Oh, and Jan and Jess are here also. Bodybuilding is a game of consistency, discipline, and intensity. Like, those are things you have to remember. The intensity is a big one that a lot of people forget. They go to the gym every day, but their intensity is not there. If you talk to somebody like Deirdre, and I keep using her as an example because, like, she is a fucking awesome example. Her intensity,
our only example, sure.
well, this year in 2020, her intensity is wild. If you're seeing the type of weight that this woman is pushing now, but it took her consistency. It took her a long time to get here. People just see what she's deadlifting now and go, oh, she's strong. I can't do that. They don't understand where she started, just like anybody else. Yeah. And she's pushing some crazy effing weight.
And as well as the biggest thing, I'd say, what do you need most in the gym when you start bodybuilding is a very high level of mind-muscle connection. If you're just in the gym moving weights from point A to point B, you're not bodybuilding.
It's not powerlifting.
You're just lifting shit.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll see the big dude at the gym, and you're like, I'm stronger than him. Why did he look like that? Take a look at what he's doing. Is he moving very slow tempo, keeping everything tight, high volume?
Mind-muscle connection.
So listen, don't get me wrong. When you want to rip out 5-killer deadlifts, it's awesome.
Best is when you see like a 300-pound bodybuilder curling 10-pound weights and just squeezing the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's bodybuilding's. It's a mind game. It really is.
And it is an art form.
It is.
It is an art.
But
it's
also
not an ego.
It's not so much as well about exercise choice either. Exercise choice is important, but what's more important is time under tension. What more important is how you do the exercises.
And I also want to tell people how, yes, you can be confident, but you must stay humble in this sport. Otherwise, the stage will humble the fuck out of you. Yes, you can be confident and be proud of yourself, but there's a difference between that and
you should be proud.
Yeah, you should be proud. It's a very, very hard work.
But proud
there's
of being who you were, not beating someone else.
Correct. Oh, that's beautiful.
That's not nice.
Christmas miracle. Christmas miracle. Time under tension. So, everybody asks about the expenses. Like, what does this entail financially? And yes, it's something that you should be prepared for. So I'm going to kind of go through everything that is involved. Guys, you are lucky ducks because you do not have to spend nearly as much as the ladies do. So with Revolutionized Prep, so if you're working with us for coaching, that comes to $1,500, and it is in installments. It's not up front. We do installments, and we're very flexible with our payment plans.
We'll make it work for you.
And that covers up to 6 months of prep. So say you do a show in 4 months, but you're like, oh, there's another show after that, and another show after that. I want to do those too. We cover you. Yeah. You're covered.
And I always say 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to take care of you anyway. What it's really designed for is you not getting your shit together.
Yeah. So like, say you're like, oh, I'm going to do the April show. And then you're like, oh, I couldn't get together. Now I'm going to do the May show. Oh, I can't get together. I'm just going to do August. And then we're sitting here like.
Yeah.
So.
But trust me, if you're good, I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah, we're going to take care of you. We take care of all our people because they're all freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And it also covers our post-competition reverse dieting. So we'll make sure that we reverse you, whether we're prepping you for another show or reversing you just for life. We take care of you.
Yeah, and that can be different for everybody as well. Some people want to get back to normal. Some people want to push to a development season. Some people want to stay lean. Those are all different options.
None of them are wrong. We just figure out what the right option is for you, and we are very open. That includes your nutrition, your weekly meetings in person, daily accountability, your Fit 3D scans every week, your training protocol, your measurements for your suit, coordinating with your tanning, hair, and makeup, posing, backstage assistance, and the post-contest nutrition. And challenges, opportunities, laughs, and great times.
Great times are debatable.
The best times. Not great times. They're better than good. They're great.
You remind me of Harry Carey right there, the way you're...
Hi! If the moon was made of spare ribs, would you eat them?
With the glass, it's even better right now.
Hi! So the other things that it'll include is, like I said, we work with Salela suits. The suits can range anywhere from $150 plus, depending on how much glam you get. The figure suits are a little bit more expensive. They can run about $290 to $350.
I'm just gonna hop in. The way we're talking, we're gonna find out how to make this affordable for you. Mm-hmm. But if you just got money burning a hole in your pocket, go buy them greatest.
You go get freaking Team Marie suits. They're like $5,000 suits.
But understand, you're buying them for you. They don't make a difference on stage.
They don't. I wore the same purple suit that had no glitz on it for how many shows did I do that in?
I mean, the color was faded by it.
10 shows, I think.
Almost till you went Miss New Jersey. Miss New Jersey, you got different suit, right?
No. It was 2017. So from 2013 to 2017, I wore the same exact suit on stage.
Oh, that's right. Because then Slater gave us
So they sponsored me. I was like, yo, I'm going pro this year. You want to sponsor me? And they did.
Yeah, awesome suit.
Awesome suit. But so Layla, they stayed together all those years and they were awesome. And the suit didn't matter. In addition, you have shoes and jewelry from the Shoe Fairy. We work with her. She has these amazing Olympia heels that are literally the most comfortable heels, the only comfortable heels I've ever worn. And those heels can run around like $80 to $100, depending if you want to like vamp
usually
it up.
we have promo codes make it work a little better.
So we have promo codes. So again, if you work with us, even if you don't work with us, ask me for the promo codes. I will give them to you. I want to save everybody money, not even our own.
I believe in the office they're on everyone's desks.
Right? Yeah, I think so. Hair and makeup can cost you
free.
Like I did my hair and makeup for pretty much every show except for my
pro shows.
No, I did my own for my pro shows. For my qualifier. I'm not a makeup artist, nor am I a hair artist, but the judges don't give a shit. So,
but there is something to a lot of the athletes like having that stuff done for them because there's just one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, so like Dee likes to sit back and get glammed up. Me, I don't because I don't like to talk to people before I compete.
Even not me. I'm not allowed to be.
I don't like to be around anyone.
When she was about to go pro, I was bothering her, and she didn't want to have it, so I had to go find like random bikini girls to pose with. I'm like, who needs help?
I'm like a battery. I need to just recharge and then let it on the stage.
So I'm looking like a creeper, and I'm just bored out of my mind.
I don't know you.
Let's go.
Hit a back pose.
Let's see that butt pose.
Let's see the butt pose. Let me see your glutes. So the next one is tanning. Could be around $100.
And Dee has codes too for our stuff.
Yeah, Dee has codes as well. Hair and makeup. Let me go back to that. It could be $100. It could be if you use ice, which
ice can be a little more
lovely
expensive.
Bunch, but
they're day of the show. So
really expensive. Tanning could be anywhere from like $100 from the people that we work with to working with somebody who might be at the show, and they're going to be much more expensive. Yeah,
but I'm not going to. If you're at the show, they are there,
and they're convenient. So you're paying for convenience.
Yeah,
but it's a big jump in price.
It is. Yeah.
The NPC registration. So simply to register for the NPC, it is $125. That grants you access to even step on stage with the NPC.
That's literally what happened to Sean.
And then Dee goes, I also can't do my makeup for shit. Dee, can you just do it so I can see what it looks like? And then Rashawn, Randy's over there posing practice with Nebraska.
Yeah.
You're from Nebraska. Put on your heels.
Yeah. And I'm not friendly either, so I'm just like...
We are friends with the chairman of Oklahoma, so it could be an Oklahoma athlete, actually. And then the class registration. So you got your NPC registration at $125. Now you need to register for each class. Each class, depending on the show, can range from anywhere from $80 to $110 per class. So if you're doing novice as a first timer and you're doing an open class, those two classes could be $200. And then in addition, a gym membership.
Yeah,
we even wrote gym membership on it.
It's part
of it.
Yeah, and I really wanted to keep this seminar focusing more on this stuff. So if you were really looking for more of each division, we're gonna share the link to the YouTube video for that.
Yeah,
and that's really gonna get more in detail with some nitty gritty.
Yeah, if you want to just ask right now, like we'll say it now. But
a little Q&A right now. But we're gonna be posting this as pretty much as soon as we're done with that video as well. So that's.
I think it's saved on our Revolutionized Nutrition YouTube.
But I'll go find it and share it.
Yeah.
But that's the deep dive. Today we stayed a little more mental basics, but if you want deep dive, yeah.
Deep dive. So, any questions that you guys have, please drop them in the comments so we can answer them for you right now. Anything that we didn't cover, anything that you'd like to share
to a first-time athlete.
First-time athlete? Yeah, so anybody who's competed before, if you want to share some advice for a first-time athlete, please share it.
Someone thinking about it.
They want to hear from you. Like, they want to know what it's like.
They're sick of hearing it from me.
They're sick of hearing it from the coaches. They want to hear it from everybody else. And a reminder, next week, we're going to be talking about pageants. Yes. So another avenue, another type of way to...
Mary, if you're still there, do you want to drop a pageant link there?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that as well. So, like I said, the bodybuilding world is a tough animal. It can chew you up and spit you out sometimes. And it's tough. It's on another level. And again, the story doesn't count. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of athletes who have these crazy stories. Whether it's very charitable acts, just...
Kelsey has a good question.
Oh, that's a good question.
Do you want to finish your sentence first? Charitable acts.
Charitable acts, stories, overcoming diseases, illness. So it's a really cool chance also because they promote a lot in the community, so you're able to get a lot of push for your cause.
So much community. I love the community, the connections everybody has. Yeah. So Kelsey makes I'm glad that she brought this one up. She says, for anybody who's on our Facebook platform, I've had some clients ask about whether or not tattoos impact judging.
Yeah. So I'm going to give it two answers. My actual answer, based on what I've seen over the years, not really.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie. If your physique isn't outstanding, and is it hiding something that happens to be a strength? It can hide certain cuts and definitions.
Yeah.
But if you're in physique, a lot of time, well, sorry, physique. If you're in physique, they're usually not going to go crazy if they can't see like a rhomboid.
Right.
It's all about that shape.
Right. Like one of our athletes, Kayla, she has pretty much doesn't she have like a sleeve? And she wins. She's
covered.
She's won her shows. You know, we've had other people that have been completely covered,
And done very well.
Have done very well. Others that are like, hey, I want to get some cover up. They actually put tattoo cover up over it. But if you're having like one tattoo here, it doesn't matter.
Put it this way, I've definitely not seen it really hurt the females ever. The men in certain cases. In certain skin tones, in certain
and it's excessive tattooing. I'm talking about basically looking like you're wearing a t-shirt of tattoos.
Yeah, because most of the time, I mean, listen, at the Olympia, you're probably not going to see it.
Yeah.
But there also is, for people that do both, they have some really good cover-up.
Yeah, they have great
It's a little pricey, but they have cover-up, where it's incredible.
But I'm going to be honest, for the average tattoo type person, the average tattooer, no, it doesn't impact it. It's all good. Food can become expensive depending on your body. Yeah, so that's
Yes.
yeah. So for somebody like me, food's not expensive. For somebody like Rashawn, it might get a little pricey because he's got to eat a ton.
And also, make your choices. And that's something we'd help on too. If you find yourself,
there's more affordable options.
Listen, I'm eating my filet and caviar every night for prep, but the rest of you peasants,
if you're getting canned tuna and stuff like that, it's gonna be
let
okay.
them eat cake.
Let them. I want cake. So that's important to keep in mind. I was gonna say something else. Oh, and in addition, there's no money to be made in this sport.
Really not.
This sport is a hobby. Out of all the professional sports out there, you make jack shit. So you're not going to be making like what a Major League Baseball player makes or an NFL linebacker makes. You have to remember that this is a hobby. It needs to be for something that you love. Now, can you take this hobby and bring it into your career, such as personal training, such as nutrition, such as supplements?
Opening a gym.
Opening a gym. Yes, you can. But if you're stepping on stage expecting to win prize money, there's not much to be made.
And even these days, and I didn't say this when we first started out, it's also a decent avenue. And please, I know I'm going to get shit for this. If you're really trying to grow a YouTube or Instagram, TikTok personality, if that's your thing, man, it does help. It really does.
Yep.
And also, sponsorships are not what they used to be.
Yes.
In terms of money, like, back in the day before the internet, the Big Flex magazine cover, which is a huge freaking deal. The supplement deals were incredible. And now, don't get me wrong. The top few supplement deals in the world can be nice, but they last as long as you're in shape.
And speaking of sponsorships, I think a lot of first-timers, I didn't see much of it this year because this year it didn't really happen,
No.
But sponsorships is an interesting topic. I think a lot of athletes who are just starting out need to understand. They're like, oh, I'm sponsored. You have to understand it is a business.
Yeah.
So a lot of these companies want to see that you can bring them in money and that they can provide what you need, and giving you what you need, you can provide them more money again. It is a business transaction. For instance, we work with Apollo Nutrition. Yeah, they'll sponsor you and provide supplements if you prove that you can make up for that money that they're giving you. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much. If you can make them 5 times as much as you're costing, you're going to be in.
Exactly. So those are things to keep in mind.
And that's just the way it is. And I always, one of my favorite quotes, I think Lane Norton might have said a few years back, he goes, if you're asking to be sponsored, you don't need to be sponsored. Mm-hmm. Sponsors are going to find you if you have the physique at the...
and they do. I mean, that's what happened with Apollo.
Yeah, I'm not saying that if there's opportunities to apply for it, don't.
Apply.
But I'm just saying, when you have the physique, it's not going to be an issue.
Gina goes, I just won a sword. Deirdre says, best. I agree. Winning the swords was the best trophy ever.
Yeah. Shout out to Mid-Atlantic Classic.
Mid-Atlantic National Classic. They did it, and they did it good. So those are things to keep in mind. And we want to be very honest with you guys tonight. Like, we love Contest Prep. It is so much freaking fun, but you guys need to hear the ins and outs and what really goes on behind it.
Michelle has a funny video as well. I think I'll share it.
What goes on Peak Week?
Yeah.
My Peak Week video. If you guys want to see how disgusting Contest Prep really is, it is not glamorous. It is filthy.
And I think I'll finish with this point. We love it. We like supplements. They're cool. You don't need any supplements for prep.
Yes.
So, can they help? Does the protein...
Sure.
But it's not, you're never going to see me write a program with supplements included.
Yeah, like, so don't feel like, oh, if I sign up with Randy Michelle, they're going to force me to have X, Y, and Z. Absolutely not. But they are there if you want them. We're not those type of coaches.
Yeah, and honestly, the difference it makes isn't whatever.
Yeah, so
they're more important in your off season anyway.
yeah, they are. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna wrap things up, guys. We want to thank you for coming out. If you guys have other questions, please feel free to DM us. If you feel you have questions that you're like uncomfortable asking, or like, should I ask that?
And there is some of those.
There are some uncomfortable ones, personal ones. Absolutely reach out to us. We are so happy to share that information with you, and we're really looking forward to the 2021 season. Like we said, we lost 2020. We had Deirdre freaking kick ass for everybody this year. But, we're just so excited. Now she's going to have her sister competing this year. We're just so excited to see what this year brings, and everybody who was just on standby this year watching every show get canceled one after the next. We had an awesome photo shoot back in August. We have to thank Luke for that. We had so much fun. Hit Training Gym.
We're definitely going to be trying to set that up again.
We're going to be setting up some photo shoots this year. So we have other people who are, they're very interested in doing photo shoots, but don't necessarily want to step on stage. Those are going to be coming as well. And anyone could feel free to reach out to Deirdre as well. She just put that out there.
And as well, if you guys, have any interest in the pageant world at all, I really can't speak higher about it. It's a really cool thing we're starting to get into. Just another animal. Even if you were an NPC athlete, you want to do something else too.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's fun.
It's glamorous.
You get to be glammed up a little bit.
That
more.
is glamorous. Yeah. I can't say the same for contest prep. It is disgusting.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
Merry
everything.
Well,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas is this week. So I'll
this
stick with
week,
that.
and
we'll see you before New Year's.
Oh, we'll see you before New Year's. All right. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye. Bye.